Hi, everybody. Welcome to Cleveland Guardians Weekly Report. I'm Tim Shirer. We're going to review the last week for the Cleveland Guardians, and we're going to talk about the upcoming week and some things that happened during the week. Of course, we know Jose Ramirez is on the IL and with the hamate bone, and will be, out for probably 4 to 6 weeks is what they're telling us. And of course, we wish Jose good luck. Gabriel Arias will take his place on the roster. Gabriel Arias is no Jose Ramirez, but you never know. He was playing well when he got hurt. Come on. We can't deny that. Gabriel Arias was playing well. He's still very frustrating at times. There's something about him that's frustrating. Well, the hair. I'm sorry, the hair. That's frustrating. I think everybody will pretty much agree on that one. But, he's a frustrating player because it feels like you could get more out of him. But before we get to all that, let's tell you that this show is brought to you by CT Roofing and Power Wash, the official roofer of the Lake County Sentinel. They can come out and give you an estimate on your roof or your siding. They do power washing. They can build decks, rebuild decks. They do even do demolition now. But call them today. They'll help you with an insurance claim for roofs and siding. Call them today at 440-278-0506. Okay, let's get to it. The team is currently 39-33, tied record-wise, I guess, with the White Sox, but the White Sox are actually technically in first place because they are 1 percentage point ahead of the Guardians. The Guardians' run plus minus differential is now -3. So that's not good. That's taken a hit. I think it wasn't a couple weeks ago. It was they were actually a +20, I think, at one point. So now that's just they're still pitching well. I mean, the bullpen struggled, but they're still pitching well. But let's get to the elephant in the room here. I'll say this. It does make me happy to see social media today, particularly Twitter, lighting up the Guardians front office for exactly what they deserve. Most of the comments, the people are very angry that they released George Valera. And the worst part, that Stuart Fairchild is still on the 40-man roster. I can't even believe this. When I woke up this morning and saw that they had DFA'd George Valera and kept Stuart Fairchild, I was stunned by this. It further proves to me, since Chris Antonetti took over, they have no clue on how to develop outfielders. Absolutely no clue. They've done this over and over again. How many right fielders have the Cleveland Guardians had since Chris Antonetti took over? I think that they were leading baseball. It was a record or near a record. How many years in a row they had a different starting right fielder on opening day. It's ridiculous. And he's done this over and over again. And he hates young outfielders, it seems like. But in particular, Chris Antonetti seems to hate young Hispanic outfielders. Okay? He's done it 3 years in a row now. Playoff hero, Oscar Gonzalez, off the roster. Playoff hero, John Kenzie Noel, off the roster. Playoff hero, George Valera, off the roster. None of the three were given a fair opportunity that next year after they made contributions late in the previous year. None of them were given a fair shot. Absolutely not one of them. And you say, oh, well, Noel and Gonzalez struck out a lot. Well, yeah, when you don't get a chance to play every day, this happens. Any player who's played at the professional level at a high level will tell you that. The analytics bullshit has absolutely killed the chances of any Guardians outfielder who is Hispanic. And I'm saying it, yes, who is Hispanic from flourishing with the team. It is 3 years in a row now, releasing an outfielder who has great potential to help their power problem. It's like they don't like power hitters either. You know, it's really pathetic. And don't worry, you give them a chance. They will screw up Chase DeLauter too. Don't worry, they will screw up Chase DeLauter. Let's say he has to go on the IL with the rib. I could see them sending him down for a rehab and then saying, well, we need to leave him down there for a while. We need to leave him down there for a month or two. I could see it happening. So they could play Stuart Fairchild. The guy is terrible. The guy is a ninth batter in a high school lineup. He's that bad. I can't believe he made it to the major leagues. I'm sorry. I can't believe he made it to the major leagues. And you're going to DFA George Valera to keep that guy. And one more thing before we get to numbers. I've heard some millennials. It's mostly millennials. It is. They are the most annoying group of people that walk the face of this earth. Blaming Carl Willis for the rough patch by the bullpen. I saw an idiot complain about Hunter Gaddis. Jesus. Carl Willis, in his small fingernail, has more knowledge than these people. And Hunter Gaddis, they're complaining about Hunter Gaddis, who had 19 straight appearances without a run allowed. But he stinks. One thing they can do is develop pitching. Give me a break, man. Give me a break. So, stop showing how ignorant you are. The bullpen is great. Every bullpen has bad games. I can only imagine what people will say about Cade Smith when he finally blows a save. He's only saved 20 in a row. He'll be the worst thing that ever lived. What would you rather have? Cade Smith, who goes out there and gives everything he has every day, or cheating game thrower Emmanuel Clase? Yeah, I think we're better off. The bullpen's fine. And it probably will even be more strengthened now with Daniel Espino, who got called up the other day. So the pitching staff is sixth in the major leagues in ERA with a 3.75. The starters' ERA now is higher than the relievers. They're at 3.80, which is also sixth in Major League Baseball. Believe it or not, the bullpen has a lower ERA than the starters, but is ranked lower. So there's a lot of good bullpens in baseball. The Guardians bullpen, 3.68 ERA, is ranked 11th in Major League Baseball. So, yeah, you get into people's bullpens this year, there's a good chance you aren't going to hit them, because there's 10 bullpens better than the Guardians, which is saying something. The Guardians are now third in Major League Baseball in strikeouts with 658. The Milwaukee Brewers have 675 and are first, and the Philadelphia Phillies are second with 660. So they are. Here's a concerning thing, though, with the pitching staff. They're 15th in the league in walks allowed. So that's an issue. They've walked 238 guys. I mean, and how many times we've seen it? How many times have those guys come around to score? You know, the old saying by Casey Stengel, walks will kill you. Absolutely the truth. The story goes, he said that on his deathbed. I wonder if he really did. But I don't know. Very few people would know if that was actually the truth, wouldn't they? So they've also allowed the 10th most home runs in Major League Baseball, which is also concerning. They've allowed 83. The offense, well, the batting average is low as usual. They're ranked 26th with a 232 average. They have a 372 slugging percentage, which is 28th in Major League Baseball. So what do? You go and you DFA a power hitter. They rank 27th in Major League Baseball in OPS with a 689. I did not get the on-base percentage. I'm sorry. I knew I was forgetting something when I did this prep, but 689 OPS is terrible, folks. Okay, it's horrible. It's just not good. All right. When you're in the bottom 5 in every offensive category, team-wise, that's not good. I thought they'd be better this year, but I also thought they'd have George Valera on their team this year. And they just DFA'd his ass today, which is completely ridiculous. They are 24th in home runs with 66. They've only hit 11 in the last 2 weeks. And they're 23rd in runs scored with 289. So none of those statistics offensively are any good. They're still an offensively challenged team. Can you hope they get hot if they get in postseason and maybe, can win? Yeah, but should we always have to hope? How about developing an outfielder that you're going to keep and not DFA him? What is the use of signing international free agents if you're going to DFA them? They should never sign any outfield DFA international free agents. None. Don't sign any of them because you get rid of them all. Seriously, what international free agent have the Cleveland Indians / Guardians since Chris Antonetti took over kept? Oh, hey, how about we go as far back as Anthony Santander? They left him open in the Rule 5, and he had a pretty good career in Baltimore. Been plagued by injuries in Toronto, but yeah, what about him? Could have been 5 good years in Cleveland, couldn't it have? But no. Anthony Santander, oh, he's Hispanic also. Yeah. There seems to be a theme here, people. So I kind of want to know why this is happening within this organization. Why are they giving up so quickly on Hispanic outfielders? It's a thing. There's evidence right in front of you that they've done this. But they'll keep a guy like Stuart Fairchild. That's who we go on this 9-game road trip with. Stuart Fairchild, Who would you rather have in the lineup heading on this 9-game road trip? Stuart Fairchild or George Valera? I think any sane baseball fan would say George Valera. But as someone pointed out, there's probably an analytic metric somewhere that says Fairchild's better than Valera in at least one category. So they kept Stuart Fairchild. All right, so it's ridiculous. So let's get to last week. We're going to run through the first 3 days of the week. Quick, we're not even going to mention the name of the team, but the Guardians got swept by them. They lost 7-5 on Monday, blew a lead in that game. Lost 3-2 on Tuesday, blew a lead in that game. Wednesday, they lost 8-4. It was tied 3-3, but that game went bad quick too. And the bullpen had some trouble this week. Okay, it did. But they're still 11th in Major League Baseball in ERA. But so Friday night, they had an off day on Thursday. Friday night, they welcomed Detroit to town and continued their dominance of the Detroit Tigers. The Guardians won that one 3-2. Tanner Bybee picked up his second win and pitched very well again. He got into the 8th. Then Saturday, they won again. They beat Tariq Skubal in his return. Joey Cantillo pitched well, gave up 1 run early, and that was it. And the Guardians won that 3-1, and they had momentum, of course, and then it rained today. So they got rained out today. And that game will be, I think I have my dates correct. I believe it's been rescheduled as a day-night doubleheader on September 2nd, I believe. So, hopefully the Guardians will be in good shape by then. Who knows? Jose hopefully will be back. But now we have the upcoming week. That is not going to be easy. Okay. They're going to Milwaukee. That series starts on Tuesday. The Brewers are 43-26. I guess they're going to face that Jacob Mazeroski kid. He's pretty good. He may match up against Gavin Williams. So that's going to be interesting. Or even if he matches up against Parker Messick, that'd be pretty cool. They're 43-26. They're in first place. They're up by 5 games in the NL Central. They are 23-14 at home. And they're just a really good team. Another small market team that's builds and doesn't spend a ton of money and trades guys, but they're good. Cleveland fans want to bitch and moan about it, but Milwaukee does the same thing, and they draw good crowds. So maybe their fan base just understands, and the Cleveland fan base just doesn't understand because they don't want to, because they'd rather root for that trash football team than the baseball team. Don't get me started on that. But so the game times for the Milwaukee series: Tuesday at 7:40, Wednesday at 7:40, Thursday at 2:10. And then they move to Houston on Friday. The Astros right now are 33-40. They're in 4th place in the AL West. It's fun to watch. They're 16-19, but they swept the Guardians. Or they sweep them, or they took 2 of 3. They took 2 of 3 from the Guardians when they were here. I believe it was 2 of 3. It just was that was a bad series for the Guardians. The thing is Houston. They took 2 or 3 from the Guardians. Houston had not been pitching well. They pitched well. Houston had not been hitting well at that point. They hit well. They did everything. made the Guardians look really bad in that series. But they're 33-40. They're in fourth place. They're 16-19. I almost said at the Astrodome. But their ballpark, Minute Maid, I believe it's still called, in Houston. So those game times are 8:10 on Friday, 7:15 on Saturday, and 2:10 on Sunday will be the game times for the series in Houston. But it doesn't get any better, any easier after that. You know, once they finish up in Houston, they go to Chicago for 3 on Monday and Wednesday, June 22nd, June 23rd, and June 24th. So it's gonna be a tough stretch here. Let's see if they can do it. I think if they could come back from this road trip 5-4, that's a win. But I'm going to give the week a prediction for the week. Even though they still have Stuart Fairchild on the roster, I am going to say they go 3-3 this week. 1 in Milwaukee, 2 in Houston. I'm going to say they go 3-3. I think I've been right twice this year, and it's usually when I'm guess lower. So, but I'm going to say 3-3 this week. I'm right. And hopefully they come back and possibly have an above 500 road trip. If they don't, things could start to unravel. So hopefully they don't, though. But I think that's it for this week. You know, I was called, I will say this, I was called earlier by some clown on Twitter, a wannabe beat writer. Well, I've covered all 3 Cleveland teams this year and minor league baseball for 20 years. So I'm not a wannabe beat writer. I am a beat writer. I am a legitimate beat writer, credentialed by all 3 Cleveland teams. And you might want to keep your mouth shut. I'm sure you heard that from one of the hosts of LOG. You know, I'm the guy who gave him his start when he was, I think, 14 or 15. He thinks he's a big shot now. But he got his start at the Lake County Sentinel. So I'm sure that's where you heard that from, wannabe beat writer, because it sounds like something his arrogant ass would say. This is the same guy who said Paul Hoynes was lazy several years ago because he doesn't tweet enough. This is the same guy who another Guardians beat writer, I'm not going to say his name. Maybe at some point I will. But I wonder if that beat writer would like to know what this co-host of LOG has said about his wife in the past. So remember, if you're going to throw shit at me, I've got shit I can throw back. But that's it for this week. We'll be back next week with another edition of Cleveland Guardians Weekly Report. No analytics here.